The punch landed like a freight train, splitting my lip open before I even saw it coming. Blood tasted like copper pennies on my tongue as I hit the locker room floor, the echo of laughter from the football team ringing in my ears like a death knell. "Faggot," James snarled, his blue eyes blazing with that toxic mix of rage and something darker. Fear, maybe, that I'd never understood back then. I was 14, a scrawny kid from the wrong side of the tracks in Elmwood, Ohio, a Rust Belt town where dreams went to die under the shadow of shuttered factories. Elmwood High was a pressure cooker of jocks, cheerleaders, and the rest of us just trying to survive until graduation. I was the rest, David Ellis, the quiet artist type who sketched in the margins of his notebooks instead of chasing touchdowns. My only crime? Being gay in a place where that word was a weapon, whispered like a curse in the hallways. James Harlan was the golden boy. Quarterback, homecoming king in waiting, with a jawline that could cut glass and eyes like storm clouds over Lake Erie. He was everything Elmwood idolized, strong, straight, untouchable. But there was a crack in that armor, a flicker I'd catch when no one was looking, when he'd linger too long in the showers, towel slung low, or when his laugh would falter at a crude joke about queers. I told myself it was nothing. Wishful thinking from a kid who'd spent too many nights staring at the ceiling, wondering why God had wired him wrong. That day in the locker room was the breaking point. Practice had ended, the team filtering out like they owned the world. I'd snuck in to grab my forgotten sketchbook from my gym locker. Stupid mistake. James and his crew, still hyped from a scrimmage win, spotted me first. "Look what the cat dragged in," one of them jeered. The others chuckled. But James. He stepped forward, his cleats squeaking on the tile. "What are you doing in here, Ellis?" His voice was low, almost curious, but laced with that edge that made my stomach twist. "Just grabbing my stuff," I mumbled, eyes on the floor, heart hammering. He blocked my path, towering over me. The air smelled of sweat and cheap body spray. "You know this is our space. Unless you're looking for something else." The innuendo hung heavy, and the room exploded in hoots. I should have run. Instead, I met his gaze, those blue eyes boring into me like he was daring me to deny it. "I'm not." The fist flew before I could finish. Pain bloomed across my face, and I crumpled, tasting blood and humiliation. He stood over me, chest heaving, face flushed not just from the hit but from something rawer, like he'd punched a mirror and seen his own reflection shatter. "Stay the fuck out of my way," he spat, but his voice cracked on the last word. Then he was gone, the door slamming behind him, leaving me curled on the cold floor with the ghosts of their laughter. I didn't tell anyone. What was the point? My mom worked double shifts at the diner, too exhausted to notice the split lip under my excuses. Dad had split years ago for a better life in Cleveland that never included us. So I patched myself up, sketched the pain into charcoal smudges on paper, and avoided James like the plague. But plagues have a way of spreading. The bullying escalated after that. Shoved into lockers, "Fag" scrawled on my backpack, my drawings ripped up and stuffed in the toilets. James was always at the center, directing with a glare or a shove, but never quite as vicious as his cronies. It was like he was performing for them, proving something to himself. I catch him watching me in class, his pen tapping erratically, that storm in his eyes brewing. By junior year, I'd built walls higher than the steel mill smokestacks. I buried myself in art club, dreaming of escaping to New York, where guys like me could breathe without apology. James, meanwhile, was spiraling. His dad, the town sheriff, rode him hard, literally and figuratively, pushing him toward a football scholarship, a real man's future. Whispers said the old man was a drunk, that James came to school with bruises hidden under his Letterman jacket. I pitied him, in fleeting moments, but pity doesn't erase fear. Prom night was the night it all fractured. I wasn't going. Why bother when the only dance I craved was one no one here would allow? But my best friend, Lena, dragged me as her platonic date, her sequin dress a defiant middle finger to the town's norms. The gym was a fever dream of twinkling lights and bad pop covers, punch spiked with whatever the seniors could smuggle in. I was nursing a soda in the corner, sketching the couples under the disco ball, when James appeared. Sober, suit rumpled like he'd fought it on, tie loose. His date, Katie the cheer captain, was across the room, giggling with her friends. Dance? He said. Not a question, more a challenge. The word hung between us. Absurd. I laughed. Bitter. Pass. His jaw tightened. Come on, Ellis. One dance. For old time's sake. There was that crack again, vulnerable, almost pleading. The room spun as he pulled me onto the floor, his hand firm on my waist, the other gripping mine like a lifeline. We moved awkwardly at first, the beat of some top 40 hit masking the tremor in his touch. Whispers rippled around us. Fag baiting, they thought, but James didn't care. Or maybe he did. Too much. His breath was hot against my ear. You draw me once, he murmured. In art class. Threw it away. I froze. You saw. Yeah. A pause. The world narrowing to the heat between us. It wasn't bad. The song ended, and he let go like I'd burned him. He vanished into the crowd, leaving me adrift, heart pounding with questions I was too scared to voice. Summer came, and with it, graduation. James got his scholarship to Ohio State. I scraped together community college tuition, waitressing nights to fund my escape. We didn't speak again. But that dance lingered, a ghost in my sketches, haunting the edges of every cityscape I drew. Fast forward 7 years. New York City, 2025. The city that never sleeps, but sure as hell keeps you up with its chaos. I'd made it, barely. 25. Freelancing illustrations for indie mags, crashing on a Brooklyn walk-up that smelled like curry from the neighbors below. Elmwood was a scar, faded but itchy on rainy days. I was at a gallery opening in Chelsea, nursing a cheap Merlot, when fate or whatever cruel joker ran this show decided to twist the knife. The exhibit was rust to revival, pieces from Midwest artists reclaiming their roots. My submission, a gritty triptych of Elmwood's decay, hung unremarked in a corner. I was chatting with the curator, a wiry woman named Trish, when he walked in. James Harlan. Taller somehow, broader in the shoulders, dressed in a tailored blazer that screamed money, tech money, maybe, or finance. His hair was shorter, styled, but those blue eyes, still storms. He scanned the room, polite smile in place, until his gaze snagged on me. The glass slipped from his hand, shattering on the hardwood like a gunshot. David! The word was a whisper, but it cut through the murmur of the crowd. I turned, and the world tilted. James! He crossed the room in 3 strides, ignoring the stares. Close. He smelled like cedar cologne and regret. Holy shit. It's really you. Yeah. My voice was steady, but inside, The old wounds throbbed. Long time. Trish excused herself, sensing the electricity, or was it gunpowder? James rubbed the back of his neck, that boyish tick unchanged. Your work. That triptych. It's Elmwood, isn't it? The mill, the tracks. I nodded, guarded. Memories stick. His eyes softened, searching mine. Listen, I about back then. I was an asshole. Worse. I don't expect forgiveness, but I owe you an apology. The room buzzed around us, but it was just him and me, suspended in that gallery light. Part of me wanted to deck him, walk away. But another part, the artist in me, the one who saw beauty in broken things, saw the lines etched around his mouth, the weight he carried now. Apology accepted, I said finally, surprising myself. Buy me a drink sometime? For closure. His smile was tentative. Real. Yeah. I'd like that. We exchanged numbers, the clink of his phone against mine feeling like a pact with the devil. Or maybe an angel. As he walked away, weaving through the suits and sequins, I wondered if fate was laughing or crying for us both. That drink turned into coffee the next week, at a hole-in-the-wall in Williamsburg. James showed up early, fidgeting with a napkin, looking every bit the successful exec he'd become. Turns out he'd traded football for Wall Street, climbing the ladder at a fintech startup in Midtown. Divorced dad, wait, divorced? He mentioned it casually, like weather, but his eyes darkened. Married right out of college, he said, stirring his black coffee. Katie. Thought it was what you do. Lasted 3 years. No kids. Thank God. I sipped my latte, tracing the foam heart the barista had drawn. Sounds rough, he shrugged, but it was forced. What about you? New York treating you right? We danced around the past at first, safe topics like bad bosses and the best dive bars. But Elmwood crept in, inevitable as rust. I think about that punch a lot, he admitted, voice low. Not the act, the why. My dad. He knew things about me. Suspected. Beat it out of me with words. Mostly. I took it out on you because you were easy. The admission hung there, heavy. Easy. The word stung, but his face, raw, stripped, made it bearable. I get it. I lied. Water under the bridge. Our knees brushed under the table. Accidental. Electric. He didn't pull away. Neither did I. By the third meetup, a walk in Central Park, leaves turning gold under a crisp October sky, the air had shifted. Charged. We sat on a bench by the Bethesda fountain, shoulders touching, watching joggers blur past. You're different here, he said, arm draped casual-like over the backrest, fingers grazing my neck. Braver, I laughed. Soft. Necessity. You, he looked at me then, really looked, and the storm in his eyes had cleared to something warmer. Seeing you. It's like waking up. My breath caught. The city hummed around us, but in that moment, it was just his hand sliding to my shoulder, thumb tracing my collarbone. I leaned in, testing, and he met me halfway, a kiss that started tentative, like that prom dance, then deepened, hungry, years of unspoken want pouring out. We broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed together. This is crazy, he murmured. Yeah, I whispered back. But good crazy. Little did I know, the crazy was just beginning. Fall deepened in New York. The kind where the air bites just enough to make you crave warmth, human warmth, the kind James provided in stolen moments. Our first real date was at a speakeasy in the East Village. All dim Edison bulbs and velvet booths tucked away like secrets. He showed up in a Henley that hugged his chest. Sleeves rolled to show forearms roped with muscle from gym sessions he swore were just stress relief. I wore my favorite leather jacket, the one I'd splurged on after my first big illustration gig, feeling like I belonged in this city for the first time. Over whiskey sours, his choice. To loosen the edges, we peeled back layers. He talked about the divorce, how Katie had found texts from a guy in college, a fumbling hookup after a frat party that James buried deep. She called me every name in the book, he said, swirling the ice in his glass. Fag. Liar. Monster. Maybe she was right. I reached across the table, covering his hand with mine. She was scared. Doesn't make it true. His fingers laced through mine, thumb stroking my knuckles. And you? Ever had your heart broken? I thought of Elmwood flings, anonymous hookups in Cleveland basements. Nothing that stuck. Not like this, I admitted. Not real. The bartender called last call too soon. Outside, the street was alive with cabs honking, couples stumbling from bars. James pulled me into a doorway, kissing me like the world was ending, deep, desperate, his hands fisting my jacket. I tasted whiskey and him, felt the hard line of his body press against mine. When we surfaced, his eyes were dark, pupils blown. My place? He asked, voice rough. We barely made it up the 4 flights to his Soho loft, rent-controlled miracle. He joked, clothes shedding like old skin. His apartment was minimalist cool. Exposed brick, a king bed dominating the space, city lights filtering through floor-to-ceiling windows. He was gentle at first, reverent, tracing my tattoos, a compass on my ribcage. Navigate scripted in elegant cursive with lips and tongue. Beautiful, he breathed against my skin, and I believed him. It wasn't just sex, it was reclamation. Years of shame uncoiling as he moved inside me, our bodies sinking like we'd rehearsed this in dreams. Afterward, tangled in sheets that smelled like him, he held me close, chin on my shoulder. I don't deserve this, he whispered into the dark. Shut up, I murmured, kissing his temple. We're here now. The weeks blurred into a rhythm. Mornings with my coffee black, his with cream. Lazy Sundays sketching while he read the Times, feet entwined on the couch. He met Lena at a queer poetry slam in Brooklyn. She grilled him like a suspect, but warmed when he admitted, red-faced, David's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I introduced him to my art scene, gallery crawls in Bushwick, where he'd stand quietly, hand in mine, absorbing the queer narratives on the walls like a man dying of thirst. But cracks showed. Late nights at the office turned into all-nighters. His phone buzzing with texts from the boss. He'd come home hollow-eyed, collapsing beside me with apologies. Big merger, he'd say, evasive. I let it slide, too blissed on the romance to push. Thanksgiving loomed, and with it, the pull of home. I planned to stay in the city. Lena's potluck was tradition, but James? His face fell when I mentioned it. Come with me to Ohio, he said one night, over takeout tie in bed. Meet the family. Or what's left. I hesitated. Elmwood was a minefield. Your dad. He's mellowed. Sober 2 years. James's eyes pleaded. I want you there. You. Us. The vulnerability undid me. Okay. But if he pulls a shotgun, he laughed, tackling me into the pillows. Deal. The drive back was a time warp. 80 east to west, cornfields giving way to the industrial gray of home. James's hand stayed on my thigh the whole way. Anchor. Elmwood hadn't changed. Same cracked sidewalks. The diner where Mom still slung hash. She hugged me fierce at the airport, whispering, "Proud of you, baby," before eyeing James with mom radar suspicion. His family home was a colonial on the hill, the one with the wraparound porch where we'd hidden beer bottles as kids. Sheriff Harlan, now retired, paunchy and sheepish, greeted us with stiff handshakes. "Heard a lot about you, son," he said to me, avoiding James's gaze. Dinner was turkey and tension. Small talk about the weather, the Browns' losing streak. James's mom, a quiet woman with laugh lines, squeezed my hand under the table. "We're glad you're here." After pie, James and I escaped to the backyard, stars sharp overhead. He lit a rare cigarette, habit from college, and passed it to me. That wasn't so bad. I exhaled smoke, watching it curl. "Your dad's staring daggers. He'll come around." James pulled me close, kissing my neck. "Or not. Doesn't matter. You're mine." We made love in his old room that night. Posters of Tom Brady faded on the walls, twin bed creaking under us. It was urgent, reclaiming the space where his demons had formed. As he shuddered against me, whispering my name like a prayer, I thought, this is it. Real love. But dawn brought the call. James's phone vibrated at 6 a.m., pulling him from sleep. He answered in the hall, voice hushed. I caught fragments. "Can't back out." "Yeah, I know. Love you too." "Love you too." My stomach dropped. When he returned, face ashen, I sat up. Who was that? Work stuff. Evasive again. Bullshit. I stood, naked and furious. "James, talk to me," he sighed, running hands through his hair. "It's nothing. Promise." The lie hung between us, thicker than the guilt. We drove back to the city in silence, the miles stretching like accusations. Back in New York, the idol fractured. He worked later, came home smelling of scotch. Our dates turned perfunctory: dinner, sex, sleep, passion dimming to routine. I threw myself into work, landing a commission for a queer graphic novel. But the joy soured. Lena noticed at brunch. "Spill, Davy. You're glowing less." I confessed the call, the distance. She hugged me. "Confront him before it eats you." That night, I waited up. He stumbled in at midnight. "I ask you." "We need to talk," I said, voice steady. He froze in the doorway. "David, not now." "Now." I pulled out my phone, playing back the voicemail I'd accidentally heard earlier. A woman's voice, soft and intimate. "Katie? James, it's me. I miss you. We can fix this." His face crumpled. "It's not. She's your ex. And you said, 'Love you too.'" The words tasted like ash. He sank onto the couch, head in hands. "She's pregnant. Mine." From before the divorce finalized, a one-night stand, reconciliation attempt. I found out last month. The room spun. Betrayal, sharp as that locker room punch. "And you didn't tell me?" I was scared. Tears streaked his face. "Scared you'd leave. This us is the first real thing I've had." Paced, chest tight. You lied. Every kiss, every mine, built on what? He stood, reaching for me. I love you, David. More than her, more than anything. We'll figure it out. Co-parent. But you and me. I shoved him away, gentle but firm. I need space. He nodded, broken. Okay. I grabbed my jacket, fleeing into the night. The city swallowed me, neon blur, horns blaring, like it had the first time I'd arrived, alone and aching. At Lena's, I crashed on her couch, sobbing until dawn. Love, I realized, wasn't just the high, it was the crash, the choice to rebuild or walk. Days turned to a week. James texted apologies. Flowers arrived at my studio. I ignored them, sketching fury into abstracts, jagged lines, storm blues. But in quiet moments, I missed him, the way he'd hum off-key in the shower, steal bites from my plate. The gallery called, a solo show offer, based on my Elmwood pieces. Raw emotion, the curator said. Trish. I accepted, channeling the pain. Opening night, the space thrummed critics, collectors, Lena beaming in the front row. My new series, Twists of Fate, diptychs of bullying to blooming, betrayal to maybe forgiveness. The final piece, two figures in an alley, rain-slicked, on the cusp. I was mid-conversation when he entered. James, in a suit that fit too loose now, eyes scanning until they locked on mine. The crowd parted as he approached, holding a single red rose, cheesy, but his. David, voice hoarse. I'm here, I swallowed. You shouldn't be. I had to. For this, he gestured to the art. For us. I told Katie everything. We're done. Friends for the kid. Nothing more. Therapy, too. Facing the bully in me, my heart stuttered. And if I say no, then I walk. But I won't stop loving you. The room faded. Just him, rose extended, storm eyes clear. I took it, thorns pricking my palm. One step at a time, his smile broke, tentative. We kissed then, soft amid the murmurs, not caring. The twist wasn't over, it was just turning. Winter clamped down on New York like a vice, snow piling on the stoops and turning the streets into slushy battlegrounds. James and I tiptoed back into each other's lives, fragile as the icicles dangling from fire escapes. No grand gestures, just quiet rebuilds. Mornings started with him making eggs, me sketching at the kitchen island while he recounted dreams in that gravelly voice. Nights ended with him reading aloud from my graphic novel drafts, his baritone wrapping around the words like a blanket. But trust is a slow thaw. The pregnancy loomed, a third wheel in our bed. Katie lived in Jersey now, a cozy suburb with playgrounds and minivans, worlds away from our loft's urban edge. James drove out weekly for ultrasounds, coming back with grainy printouts he'd show me like peace offerings. Look, tiny heartbeat, he'd say, finger tracing the blob. I'd nod, forcing a smile, but inside, jealousy gnawed. Not of her, but of the life he owed, the piece of him I couldn't touch. You ever think about kids? I asked one night, post-sex glow fading as we stared at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. He turned, propping on an elbow, blue eyes searching. With you? Yeah. Someday. Adoption. Maybe. Surrogacy. Whatever feels right. The someday was a lifeline. I pulled him close, burying doubts in his scent. Good answer. Christmas was our test. He wanted Elmwood, family, roots. I balked. Visions of turkey and tension flashing. Last time was a lot. I know. He cupped my face, thumbs brushing my cheeks. But Mom's asking about you. Dad too grudgingly. Says your art's not half bad. High praise from him. I relented, because love's about compromise, right? The drive was lighter this time. Holiday radio crooning carols. His hand warm on my knee. Mom joined us, her first trip east since Dad left, turning the Harlan dining room into a bohemian clash of diner grit and suburban polish. She and Mrs. Harlan bonded over pie recipes. Even the sheriff unbent, sharing war stories from the force that skirted too close to apologies. After dinner, James and I snuck out to the old swing set in the backyard, snow dusting the chains. He pushed me gently, my boots dangling. Remember when we raced here after school? You always won. I grinned. Cheater. You'd trip me. He stopped the swing, kneeling in the drift to face me. I'm sorry. For all of it. His breath fogged the air. You're my win now. We kissed under the stars. Snowflakes melting on our lashes, pure, like the first time. Back inside, Mom cornered me by the tree. He's good for you, Davy. Real good. Yeah, I whispered. He is. New Year's Eve sealed it. Back in the city, we hosted a small party. Lena, Trish, a few art friends. The loft sparkled, string lights, a playlist of indie folk that James pretended to hate but danced to anyway. As midnight struck, confetti raining, he pulled me onto the fire escape. The ball drop echoed from Times Square screens below, fireworks blooming like promises. Resolution, he said, nuzzling my neck. No more secrets. I turned, fireworks reflecting in his eyes. Build a life. Together, the kiss tasted of champagne and forever. Spring brought green shoots, literal and not. My solo show sold out, critics calling it a poignant queer odyssey through trauma's terrain. James beamed at the review over breakfast, clipping it for his desk. His startup boomed too. He got promoted, VP of something with innovation in the title. But success bred shadows. Late meetings multiplied, his phone a constant hum. One April evening, I came home early from a client pitch, arms full of groceries for our anniversary dinner, 6 months since the gallery. The loft was dark, but voices filtered from the bedroom. His, low and urgent, another's, feminine, laughing. My heart seized. I dropped the bags, milk pooling on the floor, and pushed the door open. Katie, perched on the bed, hand on her swell of belly, James beside her, arm around her shoulders. Not sexual, comforting, but the intimacy gutted me. They sprang apart. David, James stood, panicked. It's not. Katie rose, awkward. I needed to talk. Baby stuff. He didn't want to worry you. Worry me? The room closed in. In our bed, she gathered her coat, murmuring apologies, fleeing into the hall. James reached for me. Please. Listen. I backed away. How long has this been going on? The talks? A month. Maybe 2. His voice broke. She's scared, single mom. No support. I felt guilty. Guilty. The word echoed. Bitter. And what about me? Your boyfriend? Who's been tiptoeing around your obligations? You're not an obligation. He stepped closer. Desperate. You're everything. I laughed. Hollow. Then why does it feel like I'm the side piece? The fight spilled out, accusations flying like shrapnel. He swore no affair, just co-parenting blurred by history. I hurled Elmwood at him. The bully, the lies, the pattern. You destroy what you touch. He flinched, tears falling. I know. I'm trying. David. God. I'm trying. I left, slamming the door on his pleas. Wandered the streets till dawn, ending at the High Line elevated tracks turnpike. Ironic refuge. Sat on a bench, sketching the skyline through tears, the city indifferent. Lena found me at noon, coffee in hand. Crash at mine. Then decide. Days blurred. Radio silence from James, me drowning in work. The graphic novel deadline loomed, panels of fractured hearts mirroring my own. Mom called from Ohio. Give him a chance, baby. People change. Did they? I replayed moments, the swing set kiss, New Year's vow against the bed scene. Betrayal wasn't just the act. It was the erosion. A week in, he showed at my studio unannounced. Disheveled, dark circles under his eyes. I ended it. The visits. Hired a mediator. She's got a lawyer now, fair split, no drama. I set down my pencil, guarded. Why? Because I choose you. He knelt, like in the snow. Every time. If you'll have me. The vulnerability cracked me. I pulled him up, into my arms. We need rules. Boundaries. Anything. His kiss was salt and relief. We rebuilt stronger. Therapy sessions together. His and mine separate. He opened up about the fear, internalized homophobia from his dad. The closet that choked him. I shared my walls. The abandonment scars. Love became labor, tender and tough. Summer hit, humid and hopeful. We escaped to Fire Island, a queer haven off Long Island. Beaches, bungalows, bodies free. Hand in hand on the sand, waves lapping our toes. He proposed a future, move in officially. My lease is up, let's find a place. Ours. I said yes. Sealing it with a dip in the surf. Salt water stinging our laughs. But fate, that twisty bitch, wasn't done. August burned hot. The kind of sticky New York summer that drives everyone underground to subways, speakeasies, or in our case, a weekend in the Catskills. We'd rented a cabin by a lake. All pine scent and loon calls. A reset after the spring storms. James chopped wood like a man possessed, shirtless and sweat slick, while I lounged on the porch with a sketch pad, capturing the ripple of his muscles, the easy grace he'd hidden as a boy. This is it, he said that night, fire crackling as we roasted marshmallows. The life. You, me, no bullshit. I leaned against him, sticky sugar on my fingers. No more Kates. He tensed, then relaxed. Swear. She's settled, prenatal classes, a support group. We're good. The sex by the fire was slow, worshipful, him mapping me with hands and mouth, me arching under stars peeking through the canopy. Afterward, wrapped in a blanket, he murmured dreams, a joint exhibit for my art, his firm going remote so we could travel. Italy first. Gelato in Rome. Sketching ruins. I traced his jaw. Sounds perfect. Back in the city. Perfection frayed at the edges. His promotion meant travel, Chicago, LA, leaving me to solo gallery openings and empty beds. I filled the gaps with work. My graphic novel wrapping to acclaim, A raw testament to queer resilience, one review gushed. James flew home for the launch party, toasting me with pride that lit the room brighter than the chandeliers. But whispers followed. A text from Lena, heard something at a networking thing. James's firm, shady merger? Watch your back. I brushed it off, paranoia, post-betrayal residue. Until the email. Anonymous. Sent to my inbox mid-September. A PDF attachment. Truth for David. Heart pounding. I opened it. Screenshots of texts. Emails. James to a colleague named Marcus. Keep the numbers fuzzy. Clients desperate. More board minutes doctored. Kickbacks hinted. The firm was cooking books. Insider trading on the verge of scandal. And James? Signatory on half. I confronted him that night. Printouts fanned on the kitchen counter like evidence in a trial. He walked in whistling. Takeout bags swinging. Froze at the sight. What's this? My voice shook. He scanned. Color draining. David. It's forged? Bullshit. I jabbed a page. Your name. Everywhere. He sank into a chair. Head dropping. The merger last year. Pressure from above. I signed off. Yeah. Thought it'd blow over. Thought. Fury boiled. This is fraud. James. Jail time. I know. His eyes met mine. Haunted. Was gonna come clean. Lawyers drafting the whistleblower thing. Whistleblower. The word tasted foul. After profiting? After the promotion. He stood. Reaching. I did it for us, stability. The loft. Your studio time. Stupid. I know. I recoiled. Don't. This isn't love. It's lies again. The fight raged, him pleading redemption. Me hurling Elmwood's ghosts. You bully the world now. Not just me. He admitted the thrill at first. The power masking his insecurities. But swore it ended months ago. Prove it. I spat. Go public. Now. He nodded. Broken. Okay. For you. The next days were hell. He met with lawyers. Leaked docs to the Times anonymously at first. Then on record. The story broke like a dam. Fintech exec exposes corruption ring. Reporters swarmed our building. His face plastered on CNBC. The golden boy turned fall guy, no. Hero. The firm imploded. Execs indicted. James testifying in exchange for immunity. But the cost. His job gone. Savings drained on legal fees. Friends ghosted. His dad called once. Gruff. Proud. Son. Finally did right. Katie texted support. Ironic lifeline. Through it, he clung to me, nights on the couch. Him poring over deposition prep while I rubbed his shoulders. Whispering, "You're enough." Doubt crept. Though, was I staying from love or pity? The man who'd punched me now punched up. But scars lingered. October brought the climax. Raw and unrelenting. Subpoenaed to testify in the trial, material witness. They called me, since I'd seen the emails. Courtroom in Lower Manhattan. Wood-paneled. Air thick with cologne and lies. James on the stand. Suit crisp but eyes shadowed. Recounting the fraud with steady voice. Cross-exam shredded him. Mr. Harlan, isn't this a ploy for leniency? Or perhaps a lover's spat? Objection sustained. But the damage stuck. In the hall recess, he gripped my hand under the bench. I love you, he mouthed. After, rain lashed the city. Biblical. We ducked into that alley near the courthouse, the one from my sketch. Neon flickering fate's turn above a dive bar. Water sheeted down. soaking us through. I can't do this, I said, voice cracking over the storm. The lies, the spotlight, it's you, but it's drowning me. He pressed me against the brick, desperate. Don't. Please. I've lost everything else. Everything, tears mixed with rain. What about us? Built on sand. His kiss was fierce, tasting of salt and storm. Then let's build on rock. Marry me. For real. The proposal ring from his pocket. Simple gold band hung in the deluge. Lightning cracked, illuminating his face. Vulnerable, the boy from Elmwood laid bare. I wanted to say yes. God, I did. But betrayal's echo drowned it out. I need time, he nodded, rain streaming. Take it. I'll wait. I walked away, subway rumbling beneath, heart fracturing anew. November arrived gray and unforgiving, leaves stripped bare like my resolve. I holed up in the studio Trish sublet me in Red Hook, warehouse space with harbor views, where gulls wheeled and fairies moaned like lost souls. The trial dragged, headlines fading to footnotes, but James's face lingered in my dreams. That alley plea, the ring he'd slipped into my palm before I left. I threw myself into art. A new series, echoes of us, canvases of fractured mirrors, boys in lockers morphing to men in rain. Lena visited, bearing bagels and brutal honesty. You're punishing him. But are you punishing yourself more? Mom flew in for a weekend, her no-nonsense wisdom cutting through. We walked the promenade, wind whipping her scarf. Love ain't clean, Davy. It's messy as a short-order grill at Rush. But that boy? He's fighting for you harder than he ever fought himself. Her words echoed in the quiet nights. I pulled out old sketches, James as teen tormentor, now overlaid with adult grace. The bully had evolved. Had I? Thanksgiving alone was a low. Takeout turkey. Netflix numb. Then the knock him. On my doorstep. Coat dusted with early snow. Not here to push, he said, holding a pie from his mom. Just company. We ate on the floor, cross-legged like kids, the pie crumbling sweet. Talk flowed tentative. Trial wrap-up, deals cut, justice served. His new gig, consulting for ethical startups. Starting over, he said. Clean. And you? I asked. Fork paused. Therapy. AA meetings, even though it's not booze. The steps help. His eyes held mine. Miss you. The admission cracked the dam. I set the plate aside, crawling into his lap. Missed you too. We didn't make love that night, just held on. His heartbeat sinking mine. A bomb. Reentry was cautious. Coffee dates, park walks, rebuilding brick by brick. December glittered, the city decked in lights that mirrored our tentative spark. He returned the ring one night under the Rockefeller tree, crowds swirling like confetti. No pressure, he said, opening the box. But if, I slipped it on, gold warm against my skin. Yes, the engagement party was small, Lena's rooftop, string lights and spiked eggnog. Toasts rang, mom's teary to second chances. The sheriff's video call grunt. Don't screw it up, son. Katie even came, belly round, hugging James fierce. Happiest for you both. Wedding planning was chaos and joy. Civil ceremony in the loft. Art-themed invites, sketched hands entwined. A honeymoon fund for that Italian dream. But the real work was internal couples counseling, where we unpacked Elmwood's baggage, turning scars to stories. Spring 2026 bloomed with the baby, James's daughter, Lily, born in a Jersey hospital amid beeps and cries. He held her first, tears streaming, then brought her to me, tiny fist clutching my finger. "Meet your godfather," he whispered. "Family," I said, the word fitting new. We moved to a brownstone in Harlem, space for a studio, a nursery for visits. Life settled. Him in boardrooms fighting for transparency, me illustrating kids' books with queer heroes. Anniversaries marked with alley recreations, rain or shine, kisses under that neon sign. Years layered on. Lily called me Uncle Dave, her giggles echoing our home. James's dad visited, grizzled but gentle, sharing fishing trips where he'd mutter, "You did good. Boy." We adopted a rescue mutt. Traveled. Rome's ruins sketched in my journal, his hand in mine. The twist of fate, it didn't end in the alley. It unfolded daily, in forgiveness's quiet power, love's stubborn root. From bully to beloved, James taught me grace, him, courage. One evening, a decade on, we sat on our stoop, wine in hand, city hum a lullaby. "Worth it?" he asked, head on my shoulder. I kissed his temple. "Every punch, every storm," he smiled, "that boyish one. Forever, twisted or not," I said. Yes, and in the American sprawl, from Ohio rust to New York pulse, we found our humane horizon. Not perfect, but profoundly ours.